this is your audio angel. I know I didn't upload this weekend. That's because it's my birthday and I wanted to have the weekend to myself. But I didn't want to leave y'all high and dry, so I thought instead of doing an audio, I might talk a little bit about one of my characters. You know her, you love her. We're going to be talking about Twig today. The videos in the background and the pictures that you see are art that I have done myself. I thought it might be fun to share a little bit of backstory about her and who she is, just so you know who you're really interacting with. Twig was my first character that I played in a campaign. I did play a one-shot with my very, very first character named Eliwick, but she was very brief and I did not know her well, but I hope to maybe work with her in the future and get to share a little bit about her. But today we're talking about Twig, and she was the first one in a full campaign. There are a lot of design features that I gave her that I thought were really fun. Her hair, now I know you get to know and love her orange hair. You see her in most of my videos having that orange hair. But her hair actually changes with the seasons. I thought as an Earth Ganassi, she should be part of nature, one with nature. And so just like the changing of the leaves, her hair's changed color. So in fall, it is that orange color. In winter, it turns into gray. Think of like weeping willows and the texture that it is. That was the inspiration for her hair. It turns that gray color. And then in spring, it blossoms pink flowers all over her head. After spring, it turns green, the flowers fall out, and her whole hair is like an afro of green. And then back to autumn, it changes into its orange. Another feature are her freckles. They are actually what I call rust spots. So instead of freckling like normal, they're literally just spots of her that have rusted. And no matter how hard you scrub, they don't come off. I also imagine she grows moss on her skin. As an Earth Ganassi, she has a lot of earthly traits. Flowers and mushrooms just grow out of her scalp in what I call an Earth Ganassi puberty. She sometimes has a stray flower, stray mushroom growing. Her scar she got from a backstory that I think I'll share in a video. So you'll see a scar over her eye, and I'll definitely talk about that in the future, but for now, just notice that it's there. Sadly, I didn't draw it in the rain scene. I was wondering what I was forgetting, and it was that. I forgot her scar, and I forgot that the backs of her eyes are yellow instead of a white. She is always donned with a flower crown and antlers. Her antlers she actually received as a gift. Any gift that she's ever gotten, she's always kept and worn. Everything of her outfit has been a gift from somebody, which brings us into her childhood. So a little bit of backstory on how Twig got her name. As you know from the Rain story, she was sort of abandoned as a child. She was kind of disowned by her mother. You don't really get to see the in-depth of why that is, but I kind of leave it to the imagination because even she doesn't know why she was left behind, and that's one of the struggles that she faces and she tries to overcome. She was found by an elven man named Bark. Bark was a bard. The lute that she has is actually his lute, and when they first met, she was a bit feral because she has been kind of raised by the forest around her. She learned how to survive through watching other animals and how they interact. So she was a little bit of a savage, feral little child. And the first time she met Bark, she was actually shuffling through his bag trying to find what smelled so good. And he had some bread and some crackers in his pack, and of course, he catches her and she like hisses at him and like runs away. And he tries to coax her closer with food and tries to get her to come close to him, but she's not having it. So he plays her some lute and he's just playing some music, playing some songs. Next day, he wakes up to find she's gone and he's like, all right. And as he's walking away, He hears noises behind him. He hears twigs breaking. He hears shuffling of leaves and kind of realizes that she's secretly following him, not so secretly. So he, just lets her. He doesn't take any note of it. He just keeps walking. And the next night, same thing. She tries to sneak some of his food and he tries to give her some, but she won't take it from him. She's too shy, too unsure of this person who's being kind to her. And he keeps walking, and the next day, same thing. Twigs breaking, leaves shuffling. So he calls her Twig because of the twig snapping under her feet as she was sneaking up behind him. So he lovingly nicknamed her Twig. So he'd call out to her. He's like, "Come on, Twig," and she would not. And finally, one night, she got close enough. He wrapped his blanket around her and literally placed the food in front of her and then walked to the other side of the fire to let her eat. And she was unsure and she was a little bit scared, but sure enough, she tried it and she gobbled up every last bite. It was the best meal she had had ever in her life, cooked by someone she didn't even know. He started playing lute and she saddled up beside him and just listened. And he played. Eventually, she was brave enough to walk beside him. They soon started traveling together. And he would teach her as best he could how to play the lute, and they ended up being able to communicate with each other eventually through a couple of language barriers, as she wasn't really taught common for a while in her life. He fitted her with her very first dress before she was wearing just a couple of rags, things she would find in the forest. But her shirt dress that she has is actually her very first gift that she had ever received. It was this cute little white dress that went all the way down to her shins when she was little, and she just kind of grew into it, making it a full-fledged shirt instead of a dress. And it was white when she got it, and now it's more of a dirty cream color. She cleans it and keeps it as nice as she can, but there's only so much prestidigitation can do. Sadly, her journey with Bark didn't last very long. When she was about 15, he had needed to go to his home. There was a war breaking out, and he had to go fight for his family. That he'd been traveling by himself for a while, and he had family that he had to go save. And he didn't want Twig to get hurt, and so he sat her down and looked her in the eye and said, "You can't come with me this time, but I don't want you to think that this is goodbye." And so he gave her his lute and said, "I want you to learn as many songs as you can and sing to as many different people as you can and bring light and joy to them like you bring to me. And when I come back, you can show me all the stuff you've learned and tell me all the places you've seen and all the people that you've met." And they've had that little agreement for a while. And so the rock that she was left on when she was young, she would go and return to that rock. She would meet a couple of different adventurers, but none of them really kept her around for very long. She's hopped from group to group and, of course, was friendly with all of them, but she's struggling with finding a place where she belongs. And that's kind of her overarching story, is that she doesn't know where she fits in because she doesn't fit in with her own kind because she's never really met her mom, and she can't stay with Bark. And every group she comes across, it doesn't last very long. And so she'd go with one group and then return to the rock and go with another and return to the rock. And eventually she gets to the point where she's like, "I don't know if he's coming." And that's when you find her, is she's kind of given up going back to the rock, and now she's trying to figure out what her purpose is without having Bark. She's learning a little bit more about herself and what her wants are. And the main thing that she wants is she wants to find a place of belonging. And hopefully with the listener, she'll find that. She's not very selfish. It's hard for her to decide her wants and needs. And she has a hard time communicating those things because she's worried that if she has wants and needs, that's going to cause people to leave. Because of groups in the past that she has expressed those wants or needs and they've basically brushed her off or said that they weren't important. I think I'll save some of the backstory of the other groups for another video though, because I really do like some of the people that she's met, some of the groups that she's been in, and I like the mystery that you get to find those things out, getting to know her better in these videos. But that is my Twig. She is Precious Girl, and I definitely hope to make more videos of her in the future. Which brings up an awesome segue. What do you guys want to hear? I'm very curious on what kinds of videos you want to hear next. I know a couple of people have been requesting for an ASMR or a cleric, and don't worry, I have both those things in the same character. She's coming up real soon. I just want to get to know her a little bit more. I'm playing her currently in another campaign, but she will make an appearance soon. I want to play more familiar characters. Just let me know what kind of videos you're interested in. Are you interested in more of sound effects, or do you like the roleplay aspect? I try to balance it out between the videos, but some of these are bigger projects and some of these are smaller ones. I'm always interested in hearing smaller projects. Like I thought a flower crown making video would be fun for Twig, of her teaching the listener how to make a flower crown. I thought that maybe one of her just humming something to fall asleep to, I think would be really fun. But I definitely am open for suggestions. So if I don't get to it, I'm so sorry, but I would love to hear them. If you just leave them in the comments, that would be great. Also, I'm hoping to get soon to 500 subscribers, because once I get 500, I can open a community tab, and with a community tab, I can ask more directly and do polls and things like that. So if you like my content, please share it with your friends. Hopefully we can get to that mark soon. Until then, I do have a Discord. The Discord is with the same name. I will link it in the description of this video, so you can also join in and leave your comments and leave your ideas. Hopefully we can get a good community going. But that is what I have for you this week. I am working on another Twig video coming up really soon, and I'm really excited for it, and I hope you like it. If you liked this video and you're curious about my other characters and you'd like to see something similar to this one where I talk about them and show you my drawings of them, let me know, because I'd love to do another one. These are quick and easy, and it's nice to get to share a little bit about my characters. Either way, I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend. I will see you next video.